Well, welcome back once again to Star Trek Victory. Again, we are in the next generation season. We kind of danced around a little bit and wound up here. I kind of wish we would have kind of started at, TOS and kind of went our way back, but I don't mind circling back for TOS. But I am excited and saddened that Star Trek Strange New Worlds is coming to an end, and not only is it coming to an end, but it is also a shorter season. So I'm a little upset about that because it 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 has a decent premise. Some of the characters are a lot more interesting than what we've been getting, and for them to kind of hack them off was a little upsetting. But nonetheless, we are here. We have, of course, Marky Mark. And for those of you joining us for the first time, I am Calibus Ran, Admiral. Admiral. As Chekhov would say, Admiral. Of the Victory. With me is my first officer, Commander Xena, our helmsman, and Miss Liz, who is part of her own Star Trek crew. So, we shall start with this show right here, Pen Pals. Um,
We already did pen pals.
did we already go Pen Pals?
Yes, we're on Q2.
Oh, thank God. Yes. Yes. You see the expression change? Oh my God. Um, love this episode. This is one of my favorite episodes. Only because of the line at the end of it. And where Q tells him, if you can't take a bloody nose, perhaps you shouldn't be out here. Damn. You know. And this is the first time that we see this unstoppable force known as the Borg, which would, of course, plague Janeway to death and give us Seven of Nine and all kinds of great drama. Again, out of well, we all know the Klingon episodes are my favorite episodes, but outside of that, this is it. This and, of course, the taking of Picard and getting their captain back. So, I shall spare you my commentary on it because you already know it's great. Let's start off with you, Ms. Liz.
I'm very popular. I like this episode too. A lot. Uh, the premise is interesting because Q is up to his no goodness. You know, he does things he shouldn't do, but he did teach the humans a very big lesson in the process that they are not ready for the bad guys, as it were. Um, we also got to see Guinan a lot more and understand her and the fact that her and Q don't get along at all. um, but I have a tendency to agree with Guinan. I think that he he uh, he kind of let the cat out of the bag, as it were, and the humans are definitely not ready for the Borg. Not many people in the universe are ready for the Borg. Uh, but they learned a very big lesson, and unfortunately, that let the Borg know that we exist, and now we're eventually going to be on their menu, as it were. And I love anything with Q in it.
All right. Okay. Uh, Rob.
All right. Um, I like this episode. We got to see how Guinan's race interacts with the Q. We got to see a little bit of that coming about. We got to see the Borg for the first time. Uh, what really surprised me going back and rewatching this episode was seeing how much damage they did to the Borg ship. Knowing how bad the Borg were later on in the series and how much it took just to do a little bit of damage. That threw me right there because I didn't remember it being that bad and then it healing. But the initial like craters they created in it really got to me.
Okay. All right. Number one.
Okay, so I actually thought this was a pretty decent episode. Um, I don't like Q. I never have. I never will. Even though I have his little 10-inch, 12-inch, figure in the room. Just because I think Q is just a little bit annoying. I just don't like. I just never liked his character. I don't know which character I like worse between Q, Data, and Wesley. I think all of them for me is kind of in there. Going to be honest. But other than, I mean, even though Q was in this episode, I thought it was really good. You know, the Borg is kind of one of my favorite bad guys. Other than Species 8472, I love them too. I did like the interaction between Q and Gaiden. I thought that was really interesting. I don't know if I truly feel like we wasn't ready to be out in space. I mean, I think it's kind of, a no thoy that every species that we meet out in space, there's no way we're going to be able to win against every time we're up against a bad guy. So I don't know if I feel like, oh, we're not ready. It was just a different species, and I thought the whole purpose of the Star Trek thing was to go explore. Some of the species that we meet along the way is going to be good. Some is going to be bad. So I think this that kind of falls under that category, just not to the point that we're not ready. Being in space, we're never going to be ready anyway for every species that we meet. Um, I did like the idea that, we saw once again how powerful Q is. There he is there, with him just a snap. And I think I wrote it down here, 7,000 light years away from what the original was. That's just showing how powerful Q species is. Um, I do like the idea that we do, meet 7 and 9 eventually, in Voyager. I thought that was good. She's a character that I kind of grew to like in Voyager whenever we get to that point. I do agree with Rob, seeing how fast that when we shot the Borg cube and how fast it generated itself. I don't know how many other times that we've meet the Borg in other episodes of Star Trek that we actually saw it kind of healing itself like that. I mean, I kind of think, once we get into a major battle, we're not really looking at that aspect of it, but it was pretty cool to see how they were just, regenerating and even matching the speed of the Enterprise. The Enterprise just got to the point of, oh my God, I think 9.6, I think at one point Jody said. And I kind of feel like the board was just, hey, it's just 9.6, even though we didn't get that kind of interaction. But overall, really good episode with, even though with Q in it.
You
But
had to
yeah,
put up the pictures of the worst part of the whole show was with that engineer that they introduced as the klutz. They could have did without that, making her so ditzy and klutzy.
making who?
The new engineer, her.
Oh, how many episodes was she in? Do anybody know? Because she's
I've only seen her
very
in like two or
familiar,
three.
but huh?
I think I've only seen her in like two or three.
I should have looked that up. Do you know Calabas or Miss Liz? We can't hear you, Calabas, if you are talking. I see your mouth
Yeah.
move.
Not offhand. I think though, because the episode was so dark about, this is the first time that you get this unrelenting thing in Star Trek. And it's not the fact that I think in Q's own way he was giving them a hint of what was to come. When he gave him that line that, if you can't take a bloody nose, perhaps you shouldn't be out here. Because just because you're on this peaceful exploration mission doesn't mean that everybody else is. That you need to be prepared because there are things out that, this was the thing, the assimilation, that was like when we all saw that for the first time, it was like, well, damn, like you said, all of a sudden it's matching speed with the Enterprise. It's catching it. And then Picard has to humble himself, which he does. I mean, I'm sitting there going, you know, pride is a wonderful thing, but when you got all those men, women, and children, which I think is so stupid, aboard this ship, you need to save your people. You have to be a humble uh, captain. I don't think Jellicoe could have did it. He's just that, and I know so many people, even within our organization, that I admire Jellicoe. Jellicoe was the man. And I'm like, if I was under his command, I'd need to transfer. There's just no way in the world. You know what I mean? Um, but I agree with you, though, Rob. But I think they put her in there because the episode was so dark to try to lighten it up a little bit. Um, I kind of did like this Picard whoopee thing going on here that they kind of had. I mean, you know what I mean? This Guinan and Picard thing, will they, won't they type of deal. But we all knew it was Beverly. You know what I mean? But um, I like the dynamic. I really do. I like the dynamic of what was going on. Um, in a way, though, I kind of agree with you. Number one, after a while, this whole thing with Q kind of got a little redundant. We know you can snap your fingers and do whatever, or you're causing some mischief here and there, and you're doing some stuff. I'm like, okay, I get it. But I thought there should have been a little bit more meat to his roles when it came to certain things. Um, but again, for it to be season two, you know what I mean? I just don't understand why you wouldn't want someone writing a Star Trek show who took the time to look at these shows. And don't get me wrong, some of them are dated and outdated, I guess you could say. But it's the nuances to how the characters interacted. And maybe it's just that I'm getting older and I get it. They want uh, younger people to like Star Trek. But Star Trek has been what it was, and you can't really change it to fit your needs to get these type of viewers. When I can tell you for a fact, because I'm at a toy store, kids are on their phones. They walk in with their parents, turn right back around. I'm waiting in the car and go sit in the car. So you expect them to understand a technological show that is really science based and makes you think. This is not Star Wars where I'm giving you a nice little glow stick to go hit the bad guy who has a red one and you have a blue one. This is actual critical thinking. And I think they missed the point on that. But this is some of the early episodes that really dig into that and really make you appreciate the franchise, in my opinion. Um, this was one of my favorite episodes outside of most of the Klingon ones. Um, I think I started a little bit going, this bald man is beginning to grow on me. You know what I mean? He's starting to grow on me. He's starting to grow on me. Um, critically, yeah, he's. I really did enjoy this episode. I thought it was one of the better ones.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have anything else to say? So shall we?
Well, this one's one of my all-time favorites too. Mainly because it's got Guinan in it and it's got Q in it.
It was one of the greatest ways to introduce the Borg they could have done.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the Borg's a pretty good villain, you know. We have to deal with him for quite a while. We're lucky we came out of it in one piece.
True.
There's a good extended universe story that explains why the Borg just didn't come right on in that I love that deals with the bluegills from later on in the series.
Hmm. That sounds interesting.
The only thing about the um, I hate the like the books and stuff and like that because it starts to blur into the canon where you don't know what's going to be accepted, what's not going to be accepted. And William Shatner had said at one point, as long as they don't debunk it on the show or the movies, it's in or something like that. But even like with Star Wars, you get this whole nice little universe you get set in it. You're like, ooh, this is the greatest thing ever. And then someone comes along and goes, you know what? Nah, we're going to get rid of the whole thing. None of this exists. None of this, and it just blows it away because
Calvin universe.
I love Mackenzie Calhoun's story. And I got him in Star Trek Online, and I kept saying, this is your next show. This is it right here. Why are you not doing this? You have a whole new crew, the Excalibur. You can follow the crew of the Excalibur. Calhoun. You've got Jellicoe in it. You've got Shelby in it. You've got interesting characters. You got a whole universe to do something with this one dude. And it's like, nope, we're not going to touch it. You throw up your hands and then you get stuff like, Starfleet Academy, and you're just going, yeah. But, oh God, I hate this episode. We love to make fun because we are Pac-Led.
I wasn't particularly crazy about this episode either. The
I'm
Packlets
sorry,
are
but they would
just,
have been dead if it was me on that ship.
oh yeah, the Packlets were just they were a thorn in your side.
Wait a minute.
You just needed to turn them over and spank them, for God's sakes. They're worse than kindergartners. Oh my God, were they horrible?
What? Hold it, time out. So my helmsman wants to kill them. Another guest wants to spank them. Number one, how do you feel about the Pecklet?
I mean, they were. It should have been kind of obvious. I know Miss Liz for the, for Q who kind of said, it was a lesson. I kind of feel like this episode also would qualify for me, the Enterprise given, a lesson, because Worf is like, hey, we don't know anything about these people that much, blah, blah, blah. And Riker's like, no, we got to go in and we got to go save them. I think this was a lesson to sometimes you kind of open up your eyes a little bit, kind of do a little bit more investigation. Don't just run in. I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't help, but they looked kind of gave those weird vibes anyway. So that was kind of, yes, we collect games or we find things that they kept on saying over and over again.
We make
So
things go.
yeah, there you go. There you go. So that right there for me kind of should have been a, let's think about this. And, I kind of wanted Worf to, look at Riker and kind of said, I told you so in this episode, instead of, oh yeah, we got to go save them, and even Jordy, oh, let me fix this. Oh, darn, this is broke too?
That's what I'm saying. If I was Geordi, that shit would have been sabotaged.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't get it originally. They kind of have to kept on winking at him, like, yeah.
How many times did they shoot Geordi in that episode?
Open up your eyes, man. They're trying to tell you something.
So, we will not be helping anyone as far as my crew is concerned. Obviously, my crew would rather see you just. I don't know. Maybe we should be from the Mirror Mirror universe and just kill him.
Well, I'm
Well,
not saying don't help them, but
I
Jordy and maybe Worf should have went over there on their ship instead of just Jordy by himself.
I have a solution. We just tow them to the next space station and let them fix the damn stuff instead of doing what we did. We should have
They
just
shot
put a
Geordi so
tow
many
tow
times that
thingy
Worf will
on them
know
and
that he
take
could
them.
be hurt bad.
That would be the smart thing to do.
Well, I can't disagree with that. I mean, I like you said, that's the first thing I would have did. Put a tractor beam on them. You know, uh, Jordy and a security guard. It doesn't have to be Worf, but why would you send your chief engineer over to, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that never made sense to me. Now
Send
I
the
get it
chatty
on
girl.
I send Barkley. I mean, I'm just saying, you don't send your valuable pieces over to some stranger's place.
I totally
And
agree with Calibus.
you know what I mean? That seems a little off to me that you would even want to do that. You know what I mean? And we always kept saying, Kirk always beams down. You let your captain beam down. I get it, diplomacy, da 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 da. And then later they fix that. Now the first officer, that's his job. Captain stays on the ship, which makes sense. It makes sense, right? But to send your chief engineer over does not make sense to me. That seems like something that the assistant chief engineer, and Miguel, if you're watching, that would be you, goes over to the other ship. You know what I'm saying? Now, at the same time, you hurt my guy. I know you're stupid. Target their engines.
Yeah.
And then beam over security force, get back our person. After that, I'm going to tow you somewhere, all right. I'm not going to say what I would do, but you would be drifting to some unfriendly territories and then pushed in that direction. I mean,
Well,
I get
I
it.
think they needed a very good lesson, and I think they probably got it. Unfortunately, poor Jordy had to suffer for it.
Well,
Yeah, but
Jordy went over there, right? Kind of got what he deserved. He went over. I'll go over there, Captain. Oh, all right.
And then when we weren't, yeah, we got all the crap with Picard and Wesley.
I'm not even gonna go there.
We're not even going to go there.
that wasn't that bad.
Anything dealing with Wesley, he whines and then, oh no, I don't want to do this. This is your direction. I want to do something else. Only to bring him back in the movie for God knows what reason during the wedding. I was like, what is he doing here? No, no, I'm good. I don't need any more Wesley. And I don't particularly care for Data that much either. So you know what I mean. I think they focus too much on these two characters for me. Again, though, when this was gone and we had everything else and all that was gone, to see them all in season three on the bridge of that ship, ah, that's something as a Star Wars fan I will never get. But as a Star Trek fan, I got it. And I can praise that and I can shove it in a Star Wars fan's face. Right, Mark? Did did you get them all in the ship together? Oh, I'm sorry. Send me over to a vessel. I'm not going over there.
Well, we did see that Picard did have a weaker side, and he did give uh, Wesley a little history lesson and whatnot. But I still don't see why the doctors on the space station couldn't do what they had to do. They had to get Pulaski to do it.
Agreed.
That's we've all said this. There's no love here for Pulaski. Totally wasted. Totally wasted space right there. Overall, your ratings for the episode. We'll start with you, number one.
Out of what, 1 to 5 or 1 to 10?
Let's keep it simple. 1 to 5.
I think I would give it a 2.
Ooh, Miss Liz.
Well, I give 5 for the Q episode and maybe a 1 or 2 for the other one.
Okay, Rob.
For the Q one, I gave a 4.5, and for the I'm not going to even say that because that the inferior thieves, I give a 2.
So we're at an average of 2. I'm not gonna go above that myself because Um, although in the game Star Trek Klingon, which is also an audiobook, the pack led return, and they were just as stupid as ever. So, all right, guys. Next up, next week we have Up the Long Ladder, where you get these Irish refugees.
Oh, that was a funny episode.
That was a very funny episode.
I
So I
loved
am
it. Their
looking forward to.
ship is cons.
And oh god, Manhunt.
I'm not sure if I remember that one.
Yeah, I don't remember that one either.
Well, let me give you a hint. Here's a hint.
Oh yeah, I remember that one now. I remember the alien.
Hmm.
The aliens that ate fish. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's probably why I don't remember it because I tried to forget it.
Hmm. So looks like we're getting like one good one, one dud one, one good one, one dud one. But it is what it is. We will return in 2 weeks. Thank you for joining us. Um, we don't really have any away missions coming up until September. But we will be switching over as soon as Strange New Worlds gets in here. Um, God, I'm just jonesing to see the Enterprise again one more time before they pull her again off the air. Um, it's just something about the Constitution class ship that I love. Um, but sadly, again, this is Strange New World's final season. So let's brace for the impact. All right, guys, we'll see you in 2 weeks with the 2 episodes Up the Long Ladder and Manhunt. We'll see you in 2 weeks.